Notnerd Podcast, Episode 194, Playing the Apple Card.
Welcome to the Notnerd Podcast. I'm Nate Heath, and we are here to help you tech better. We've got a bunch of stories to cover today. Here with me, as always, Mr. Dave Baylor.
Greetings, folks. It's Dave Baylor. Wait, that's a different podcast.
That's it. You're doing impressions and taking other people's taglines.
Yes. No. Hello, everyone. I am so pleased to be here.
Yes. And
you can tell from my tone.
Your excitement. Speaking of excitement, we got a text message on the Notnerd phone line.
That is exciting.
Yes, 608-618-NERD is our number. You can call or text, leave a voicemail, or shoot us a text with your tech questions. And this one is from a friend of the show, Jared. And he says, "Hi, Notnerd. Is there a good notes app you recommend for Apple Watch? Would be nice to glance at that for Costco runs rather than my phone. Thanks." And so we actually saw this right after we got done recording last week, and we started discussing, and we're like, use this app. And we started looking on the Apple Watch, and there isn't really a good way to read things on the Apple Watch.
Right.
There's a bunch of different list apps that we use and all this stuff, but I think what I recommended back to him was just using the Apple Reminders app. You can pull it up on your phone like a shopping list. It'd be really great. Pull it up on your phone. You can check stuff off while you run around Costco, not getting your phone out.
Yeah, you can see it on your watch. Everything that's on your phone should show up on your watch display screen. So, yeah.
Yes. So check that out. I'm trying to use Reminders again. I use it and then I move to something else. Trying to keep track of things. There's so many ways to do reminder management.
Right. And I think the new iOS 13 that's going to be coming out has some updated reminders functionality. So it may be an application here after next month when reportedly the new iOS 13 will be announced and available for download, that you might want to take a look at Reminders again, because there may be some new features that you could utilize.
Good stuff. Well, let's move on to our follow-up. We talked about Gmail. We had a couple tips on email usage and everything, and we've also talked about a service called Grammarly. Well, Gmail in G Suite right now, so the business users of the Gmail service, it's now using AI for spelling and grammar suggestions when you're typing things right within the Gmail, either the web browser or the mobile apps, which is great because we should all spell and use grammar more correctly, and to have this built in right there. And if it's using AI, so it kind of knows your language, things you talk about. I really love Grammarly still. I pay for the premium because it helps me so much with just writing better.
It helps you not be a dummy, or look like a dummy at least when you're typing. And this is kind of built on and based on the smart reply feature that they've had for a while, which I love. You hit reply to an email and you say, "Hi," and it'll like put the person's name in there, comma, "I would," and then it would prompt "like to." So if you get good at it, you can just kind of type along and hit spacebar every once in a while and type much faster.
Yeah.
And sometimes our suggestions are better than what I would have done anyway.
Exactly.
So smart reply and with the grammar features, that's kind of a 1-2 punch on Google services and writing good content.
Yes. Yeah. So I as far as email goes, I don't know why you wouldn't be using Gmail or G Suite unless, your work does something different.
Or privacy concerns or something.
Which I don't agree with. But one other Google service we really like and promote is Google Photos. And they are rolling out a new feature that they had talked about earlier, where it will scan all your photos for text and you can search text. So I take a lot of like screenshots of people's screens and stuff when I'm doing IT type stuff, or just take a picture of a menu. You'll be able to search all that text right in Google Photos.
Or something in the store that you want to show to somebody later. It's like all the pricing that's in the product name and all those things are in the photo. So that's great.
Being able to search photos better, I will take anything we can get because we take so many photos these days. There's so much stuff that gets in there, and if you're trying to find something and you can just search and say, well, I know I was at a barbecue restaurant, I'll search for barbecue and it pulls it up. You are good to go. Android, our less favorite of the two major mobile platforms.
It's like the redheaded stepchild.
Yes. We have talked many times about their letters and how they tied them to desserts. Well, they made the announcement this week. They did a little rebranding on just kind of how the text looks and the little Android icon. And Android Q, it has been announced, it stands for 10. They're going away from the dessert names and they're going to numbers.
Now, typically, or historically even, 10 would be represented by an X.
Yes.
Or a Roman numeral 10. But, Android being from Google and Google being a little out there, decided to use the character Q to represent 10.
Yes.
Is it because it is a circle with a little line?
Oh, maybe.
In it?
And
It's
they're
a 1 and a 0?
that's kind of a 10. We'll use that. I think they just wanted to get away from the letters, especially when you get up to UVXYZ type
Desserts
stuff.
with Z. Yeah.
With number, I don't know why they necessarily went with 10. I don't know if this might be the 10th true version of it.
No,
but
it's not. It's like the 14th version.
They're getting away from the dessert names and they're moving over to numbers. So look for that in Android.
But the 10 is very arbitrary.
Yes.
It's just they decided to go with 10.
And they did not use the X. They learned from Apple. They didn't copy Apple on that with all the confusion, because I still every day have conversations with people and they're like, do you have the 10XS, whatever it is? And Apple, which, as we mentioned before, this is not a good time to buy smartphones. In the next, probably September 10th, they'll be announcing their new phones, and there's some talk that they'll be going to 11, which I'm guessing they will not use XI, the Roman numerals. Hopefully they'll just go the number, and then maybe an iPhone Pro, but lots of iPhone rumors. We'll just wait and see what they have to say.
Yeah.
Speaking of Apple, what was it? It must have been last year that they purchased Shazam, not the superhero, the app for figuring out what a song is. You just open the app and press a button, and it figures out what music is playing, what song it is, gives you links to it and everything. Well, they just created in Apple Music a new top 50 list using Shazam data. So they're getting all this data from everything people are Shazamming. And
is the name of the playlist I'll Be Shadam?
Yes, I believe it is not. Yes, so the Shazam Discovery Top 50. So this would give you maybe some different, it's not just the Billboard Top 50, but it's what people are Shazamming. So you get it'll usually be a random song that people don't know. I'm looking at it now and I'm not recognizing any of these songs.
You're too old, Nate.
Yeah, so if you're looking to discover good music that people thought, hey, you know what, I'm going to Shazam this, check out the Shazam Discovery Top 50 list.
I'm thinking maybe they need to change the name a little bit.
Yeah, that is a mouthful. The Apple Card. I got my physical Apple Card. You have touched it. It is titanium. It is beautiful.
I didn't really touch the titanium part because it has like a layer of paint on it. So, I mean, I guess I kind of touched it.
Yeah.
But, and I was having this discussion with you. What's so magical about titanium card? Is it the name? Like, could you not use aluminum or what? How about plastic?
Plastic?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Apple just wanted to use their design chops it's a beautiful card, do something different. But the big story of the week has been that they posted in a support article on how to clean your Apple Card. And it says, amongst many other things, that don't place or store your titanium Apple Card near magnets. If your card is placed close to a magnetic latch on a purse or bag, the magnetic strip can become demagnetized. So titanium has demagnetizing super powers, but it also talks about don't put it near denim or leather.
Which, where would you find two of those things? Maybe in your billfold?
Yes, or your purse, or wherever you carry your other credit cards. Now
that's just too good.
Too good. So a lot of, I'm guessing, surprise, surprise, there is an overreaction from the tech press that's, this is just Apple saying, hey, if you want to keep it optimal, we'll see over time how it wears down. Yeah. Luckily, I carry two wallets, and neither of them are leather or denim. So,
well, you have so much money that I can imagine. No, the thing with the denim is that you might just slip it into your pants pocket, which most pants are made out of denim. So, I mean, come on.
I don't know. We will see over time. I'm guessing that this is just Apple lawyers wanting to put a page together to protect themselves in the long run.
From what? The card was free.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's not
true. Yes, I don't know what the warranty or replacement process is on your card. Part of it is their goal is for you to not use the physical card.
Right.
It's more to put in a frame on your desk because you only get 1% cash back using the card, and you get 2% if you use Apple Pay. So
And my Costco card beats all of those.
Yes.
And I get 3% cash back at Costco. And I tell you what, I spend more money at Costco than I ever will at
the Apple Store.
Ever.
I know.
And I even buy Apple products from Costco. So do I get triple back money? Triple, quadruple money back?
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Well, Dave, you are our drone aficionado. And
may I say expert?
Yes, and you received a warning letter, I believe, since you are registered with the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration.
I am.
And what did they tell you to be careful of, Dave?
Well, just kind of a quick reminder for all of those of you out there who have drones that, maybe not weaponize them. Maybe don't put bombs and handguns and flamethrowers on them because that is not good for public safety.
Yes.
So it was just an interesting little note to get. And I was talking with a new friend that you and I both met last night, who also is a model aircraft enthusiast, and he got the same thing. We were discussing it, but it's just like there is always somebody somewhere who's going to ruin the fun for everyone. And for drone enthusiasts, it's going to be people putting
flamethrowers,
artillery on their drones. And so there's a new, maybe it's not new, but they're highlighting that you could receive a $25,000 fine for attaching a weapon to your drone. And there are people, you can find them on YouTube, people shooting guns from drones, dropping ordinances, crashing into things with drones and blowing them up. And just don't do that, people. Let's be safe out there. We want friendly skies.
Yes, and I do believe that they will be going after people on YouTube. So they're going to be looking for those videos being posted and then go after those people. But yeah, the FAA, they're trying to keep these drones under control, and there's always going to be people that do things.
Yeah, and how I wanted to. This is how I go with drones, going bigger and better. It's not going the ways to hurt people. I was at a river event yesterday with some families, and the kids were playing in the river, and I said, what if we got one of those big drones with like 8 big propellers on it, and we were pulling kids on inner tubes down the river? Now that's what we ought to be doing with drones.
That sounds like a much better idea, and I have not seen anything about fines for recreational sports.
Yes.
Much related to the FAA, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission.
They share a letter in their acronym.
Yes, they do. They are both federal agencies. They have approved nearly $5 billion in subsidies for rural broadband improvement over the next 10 years. So this is great news. I know some people not even that far out of Portland that their options for internet speeds are, they're paying $75 a month for like 5 megabit speeds, super slow speeds.
My friend who lives just right outside of Sherwood, where I live, like a mile, has terrible internet access.
Yeah. So this is good. They're putting some money towards this, and I do see in the article North and South Dakota are getting the lion's share of the fund. Which, when I think rural, I think North and South Dakota. So,
yes. And being someone from Kansas, I looked at this chart and went down to Kansas. There are going to be 14,395 locations in Kansas getting almost $200 million worth of infrastructure. I say, great. Let's level the playing field. Let's get these rural communities into the modern age. Yeah,
and Oregon's getting over 67 million. Wow. That is great news. So better internet is coming. And you know what else is coming? Dave's Pro Tip of the Week.
Okay, Nate, today I wanted to give Grandpa Bill's book a break, the one from the 90s that we've been digging all these great computing nuggets out of. And I thought we'd go back to some more modern tips for smartphones and specifically iOS devices, the iPhone, iPads, and their ilk. I found a couple things online, and maybe we can link to an article I found in LifeWire. The title of this tip is Custom Ring and Text Tones. Did you know, dear Nate, that when I call or text you, you could have your phone ring a custom text message tone or a ringtone? Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that, but I'm guessing most people are not.
Have you ever done this? Do you have any type of special text tones or ringtones for certain people?
I do have a special ringtone for my wife, and I believe a special text tone. Now, I don't ever have my ringer on my phone, but you can even have custom vibration tones.
Right, and we're going to show you how to do those. And as a quick side note, my family and I had fun punking my wife back when iPhones were new, because the Coldplay song Viva La Vida was kind of popular, and it's one of my favorite songs, and we played all the time. I made the opening sequence of that song her ringtone on her phone. And so, and she, it was fine. She likes the song, but we'd always sneak over to the radio or whatever and play the song, and she would go looking for her phone all the time. That was great. Anyway, I digress. So let's dive into our smartphone here, our iPhone, and let's go into the contacts. You should have all the contacts on your phone, and hopefully the people that you want to customize are in your phone. If not, you're going to have to add those.
Yes.
But I'm going to find you real quick, Nate, because I think you're in my phone. I text you occasionally.
Yes.
So there it is. This beautiful picture of you in these sunglasses. I need to update the picture, but I'm going to go ahead and edit your contact. And about halfway down, there's a section that is titled ringtone, and below that one is called text tone. I don't talk to you on the phone much, but I text you all the time.
Yes.
So I'm going to change the default text tone from note, which sounds like this, to a different alert tone. Oh, let's choose circles. I have no idea what this is. So now every time you text me, it's going to make that noise. You want to try to text me real quick?
Yes, let's do it.
Oh, this is just riveting for our listeners out there. All right, folks, he's got the phone out and he's typing a text message. And there it was. Wonderful. So it's that easy, folks. You just go in there and you go into the contacts, you hit edit, and you change either the ringtone or the text tone to make custom ones. Now, if you want to put truly custom tones in here, like part of a song or a recording that you've made, there's a little more involved to do that. You have to hook it up to iTunes, but Apple's given you tons of different options available for years and years worth of tones and songs that you can choose from. So just dig in there, find what works for you, and go ahead and use that. But it couldn't be simpler, and I think I'm going to utilize this so that I can better differentiate a text between you and my daughter and my son and my wife and everybody, so I don't have to pull the phone out of my pocket every time a text message comes in.
Yes, and in that same section there is the vibration,
right,
where they give you about 8 different options, or you can create custom new vibrations.
Yeah, you just tap the screen, like tap, tap, to tap, 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 and that's the buzz that will come in through your phone when the text message comes. So
very nice. Great tip. So then you know if you need to pick up your phone or not, know who it is a little bit better. Let's move on to our takes of the week. The first story, I believe we've talked about this before, but Microsoft has their Edge browser, which came out with Windows 10, and they want everybody to stop using Internet Explorer.
Please stop using Internet Explorer.
Yes. And before today, I would have said, please do not use Edge, but they are now putting out in more of a normal release the new and improved Edge browser, which is available on Windows and Mac, and it is based on Chromium, which is what Google Chrome is based on. So it is basically Microsoft's version of Google Chrome.
Now, I didn't read this article. Are they doing any fancy, funky stuff in the background to kind of make this more proprietary like they've done in the past? Because typically what will happen, it's like, oh, we're going to use open standards, And we're going to add this custom Microsoft standard that everybody's going to have to play nice by.
I believe there's a little bit of that on it. One of the things I do like, I had been playing around with the pre-release version. Much like Chrome, you can have user profiles, and it'll be different, definitely different. We would still definitely recommend Chrome, but if for some reason you want to check out Microsoft Edge browser, it has gotten better because it's based off Chrome now. So it's kind of an interesting way things work that Microsoft's kind of given up on building their own browser and said, and there are many, many browsers based on Chromium. It's the open source code that Google makes available as kind of the base. There's one called, I forget what it's called, Brave, and it's a very security-focused one where it's got a lot of ad blocking and a lot of extra stuff built in. So Chromium is different than Chrome, and it is a way for companies to build web browsers. So yes, we have confused you more than we should have.
And if you're interested in the Edge browser for Microsoft, which is what we started talking about, is you can also get it for iOS, and you can also get it on Google Play.
Wow.
So they're making it available on all platforms.
Yes, and I'm sure it probably defaults to Bing search, which is why they are doing it, because then they're getting that ad revenue and getting more traffic on Bing. So it's more of, instead of them being known for making web browsers, now they just want to be known for having the Bing search engine, which I never use. Samsung, which I also never use, has created a GIF campaign to promote green bubbles.
Green bubbles, huh?
Yes.
Yuck.
So
who wants those?
Nobody. So famously, when you have an iPhone and somebody has an Android phone, when you text message them, you get green bubbles, and there's you lose a lot of features in group chat messages, or even when you're doing some of the little reaction stuff that you can do in iMessage. So Samsung has created all these GIFs that kind of, there's one where it's some green balloons and it says deal with it, or flexing the green bubble message or muscles, and video games turning green bubbles into blue, or blue bubbles into green bubbles. So I think it's actually kind of clever.
It's creative, for sure.
Yes, yeah, it's something out of the box, but I don't think it's going to convince anybody to move away from iPhone, because the blue messages are just so great.
And this is kind of the sentiment. There's a green bubble in a chat, and it's like, ew, what are you, poor? Because the idea is if you're poor, you're not using an iPhone. So.
Yes, it is quite the meme. So Samsung has jumped on that bandwagon. Speaking of jumping on the bandwagon, Instagram is testing putting even more ads in their app. So the big one that they're going to start testing in very limited profiles is when you're watching stories, that they will put back-to-back ads. So before you get from one person's stories to the next person's, they will show you two different ads.
Now, I just started picking up Instagram again, and I've posted a couple of pictures I took.
Yes, you have.
At the Star Wars store at the mall. So those are original photographs that I took, in case people were wondering, of some models and stuff. Now I'm disheartened a little bit, thinking, oh, I'm getting back into posting pictures and having fun with it and getting the likes, and now I'm just going to have to sit through more ads. I might end before I begin.
I saw that, I think in the last year, that they've doubled the number of ads in Instagram just that are in your feed. So
and now it's Instagram by Facebook.
Yes. Oh, true. But yes, so Facebook is putting more ads into Instagram because they own them and have put their name on it now. But I still like Instagram. I use it quite a bit. But man, there's got to be a point where there's just too many ads, and we'll see if we get there. Bose, Dave, do you have memories back in like the 90s? I knew one kid and his dad had the Bose like 15-piece surround sound system in his house.
You know what I remember? Page 2. And now the Bose Comfort Quiet Wave Radio, blah, blah, from Paul Harvey. Good day. He would have an ad for Bose Wave radios all the time. And the elderly lady who I help with stuff, she has a Bose Wave radio.
Wow. Yeah,
another person I knew had a
popular.
Yeah, they cost a lot of money though.
Yeah. And Bose has always been known. They've got their headphones, their noise-canceling headphones are very popular. But it seems like they've gotten knocked off their pedestal with Sonos Apple and all these million different services out there. Well, they just announced a portable home speaker that works with Google Assistant, Alexa, and AirPlay 2. So it will cover all of the different, or most of the different voice assistants. I don't see Microsoft's Cortana on there. But it's got a battery in it, so you can unplug it, move it around the room. But I'm guessing it's Bose, so it's got to sound pretty good. But it is, I believe, the same price as the Apple HomePod.
So does it have Siri capability as well? You said most of the home speaker voices.
Oh yes, sorry, correction. It has AirPlay 2, so it can work well,
Okay.
but it doesn't have Siri integration, and it also has the Spotify Connect. It will be $349, so the same price as the Apple HomePod.
Wow.
So very expensive, but I'm guessing good quality sound. So if you're
And it's
looking
portable.
for that, yeah, you can. There's a picture with it out on the picnic table.
Yeah, these are great. I think that Bose, when they make these, envision a nice middle class type family out there on the picnic table around the fire pit. But what really happens is some douche noggle's going to come out on a bus or walking down the street
Yes.
at 1,000 decibels playing his stupid rap music with a bunch of swear words in it.
How do you really feel?
Yeah,
Dave?
I see people using them that way, or they're at the beach and you're like, oh, I want to sit at this nice and get the
Yeah.
ocean, and I hear just super loud music coming
Yeah.
from somebody.
Yeah, I was at the park with my daughter the other night, and beautiful evening, not many people there, and she's playing on the playground. We're playing in the sand, and this older lady, I would say past 50 years old, riding a bicycle with some sort of speaker on there, blasting
Yeah.
music, and I'm just like, it was just hurting my ears, but
Yeah, it's headphones, people.
yes,
AirPods.
people.
AirPods. Anyway, well, it's nice to know that these things exist if you want them. But
yes, and this next story, Dave, I had to mark it not news. I'm marking this not news. This is one of those, we see them every year, or it's like the text codes or the
yes.
This one is keep these apps off your kids' phones. It was posted on Lifehacker, but it was actually created by the Operation Intercept program by the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office.
Which you can tell right away it's going to be like 2 years outdated and the information's going to be wrong. And what are some of these?
So they
apps?
created this helpful graphic for parents detailing all 15 concerning apps. One of them is Grindr, a dating app geared towards gay, bi, and transgender people, which there's a few different dating apps on here, which, yes, you might want to keep your young children off of dating apps.
Yeah, because they're going to be older people who are going to be preying on younger people, no matter what the gender or application or company these come from. Dating apps and children do not match.
Yes. So
That was an unintended pun there.
yes. But the majority of them are dating apps. There's Hot or Not, which that was like 15 years ago, but they have an app where it's like, you judge people. And then there's a couple like Ask.fm, which we might have mentioned before, where you go, it's known for cyberbullying and more dating apps, WhatsApp, some of these chat apps. I mean, this thing is just
Now, I would agree, Snapchat, you should keep that off your kid's phone.
So basically, this whole list is dating apps and chat apps. To be honest, the article is titled "Keep These Apps Off Your Kid's Phone," and the actual infographic says 15 apps parents should know about. So that's actually a much more accurate thing, where it is more helpful of just, hey, parents, talk with your kids about these apps, see what they're doing with them. If they do have any of these ones, teach them how to be responsible with these apps. Hey, parents, be responsible with these apps yourselves, because you can get yourselves in plenty of trouble with any of these apps. So, if you have young children, keep them off of dating apps is the summary of this segment of our show. And that's why I marked it not news. Our security and privacy stories of the week. This one hit home. Portland Public Schools, the largest school district in Oregon here, says it recovered the $2.9 million nearly lost in an email scam. Now, I happened to see this live, or the live story on the local news, but I found the article.
Of course
as well.
you did.
Of course I did. But yeah, so somebody in Portland Public Schools, they're always doing big construction projects. Somebody had fished them with asking for some financial information, and they nearly lost $2.9 million. So this is a good reminder. Pay attention to those emails like we always talk about, especially when it involves financial information.
Now, let me get on this a little bit. So I've shared this before, but our local school district, one of the administrative assistants sent out something and CC'd everybody's email address, 500 email addresses out to people. And I'm just thinking, what are the standards that you have to have these days to be an administrative assistant or some type of helper? Because I'm thinking the person really should be well-versed in email etiquette, how email exchanges work, techniques, security measures, phishing stuff. Like, it seems like there needs to be some knowledge versus, hey, this is my friend's Tammy's daughter's cousin. We'll just give her a summer job to send out emails or whatever. I just feel like in this era of security and crime, cybercrime and all this stuff, that we really need to elevate our sophistication with this stuff.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's something that gets ignored. It's just like, oh, well, start using your email address. And it was like the story we were talking about from DEF CON, where they were interviewing all the people. It's like, we just got to educate people, but you also have to get people to buy in. That's why all these governments have all these breaches and everything, is because, nobody's bought into security because they're just trying to keep the schools open and get their projects done.
I guess so. There's just a lot of very intelligent people who know about this stuff who are out of work, and then there are people who don't know any of it.
I'm hoping somebody is now out of work after this happens.
I hope so.
We will see. Another one, your famed Movie Pass, Dave.
This makes me sad. I didn't really know about this. Now, I canceled them a couple months ago, so I'm not too worried about this, but it looks like there was a security breach and 161 million records had been exposed. Is that what this says?
They were just an exposed database, and there was credit card number, just everything was just in plain text. So your information probably was in there.
Yeah, the whatever credit card or debit card I had associated with the account is probably in that list.
Yes.
Oh, joy.
Oh, joy. Yeah. A little over half contained unique Movie Pass debit card numbers. We also found records containing customers' personal credit card numbers and their expiry date, which include billing information, including names and postal addresses. Among the records we received, we found records with enough information to make fraudulent card purchases. Well, enough security stuff. Our bonus odd take of the week. Dave, did you see that the first DJ set was performed from space?
I saw this article and I was trying to understand it exactly. Now, famously, you are a professional DJ.
Yes.
Not the kind that sits behind a turntable and scratches records, but one who chooses and
plays
songs.
Music.
Yeah,
runs the party.
Yes, you run the party. So what is your angle on this thing?
Yes. Well, for one, Luca Parmitano became the first human ever to play a live DJ set from space beamed to Earth. Now, there was a cruise ship where EDM, electronic dance music, and they were having this concert on top of the cruise ship. He was on the International Space Station using an iPad with DJ Pro, DJAY, which is a software I use on my computer, and I have it on iPad and iPhone as well. Great DJ software. I believe it's a previous pick of the week. But he used this to run a show, electronic music show on this cruise ship from space, and he's kind of floating and he goes upside down. He's talking to the crowd, getting them pumped up a little bit and getting them to clap and all this stuff. So pretty interesting to see. I wonder what kind of delay there was in between. I don't know what kind of latency you get between the space station and the cruise ship.
Well, if it's just was it streaming the live music or just controlling?
So he was using the iPad on the space station, and then it was going streaming down to this large group of people on.
I'm guessing just a couple seconds. It wouldn't have been bad.
Very nice. And it says in the article, a standard turntable setup would not work. in space. Yes, good.
Probably no. The needle would just kind of float off. You need some type of.
You can look in the show notes. There's a link, and you can watch the performance.
That's pretty fun, though.
It was. You know what else is always fun? Our picks of the week.
Yes, and I came across this great website app type thing. It's amazing. It's called minutelabs.io. And if you're into science and space and technology, this is for you. The thing that I saw is What is a Day is the name of this article. And it's an interactive article. So there's a narration that happens, and there's an interactive kind of web-based tool of the solar system, or at least planet Earth. And the person goes through and talks about how we measure a day on planet Earth. And this model, you can rotate it around and scale it and change parameters. And it's broken up in little sections, and you can listen to the first part and kind of play around with the tool, then go to the next part and play around with the tool. But I went to the main portion of the website, and they have dozens of these things. There's a Tree of Life Explorer, Chaotic Planets. They explain how fusion energy works. Anyway, I just thought it was great for kids, or if you're just interested in science and technology, to poke around these things. Did you know, for instance, that there's a difference between the way days are measured following the rotation, a complete rotation of the Earth, versus a complete rotation of the Earth as it relates to pointing at the sun? Because we're orbiting the sun, and so as we're revolving, the Earth is moving, and so it's not just one 360-degree turn, it's more than that, because it has to overcome the rotation around the sun. Anyway, it gets super complicated.
Mind blown.
And it explains how equinoxes work and the tilt of the Earth and all this stuff. It was. I learned a few things. I knew quite a bit about how that worked. I learned so much more.
What a great way to learn this stuff, though, with the interaction instead of just a textbook.
It's amazing.
Very nice. Well, my pick of the week is actually partially another podcast. I'm not trying to scare all of you guys away, but this one, I found it and I've just gotten into it, but I really enjoyed the episode I listened to, and I've read through some of their stuff. It's called The Pessimist's Archive.
The Pessimist's Archive. I have not heard of this.
Yeah, so what it is these people go through and look at all these different things throughout history, and their tagline is A History of Why We Resist New Things. So the thing that I really like in relation to Notnerd is they go back and they, elevators was one of the ones I listened to. So they look at the invention of elevators. They look at why people were so scared of them, how they were going to change things. So, when we get a new app or something, we're like, oh, this is going to be the worst. This goes back and looks at the telegraph or comic books.
Yes.
And how all of these different things in history, we always have these pessimists that think it's going to be the end of the world. So really just a great listen. They do a good job researching things and getting different stories on it. And they've done quite a few, so you can go back and listen through the Waltz. So they've got chain stores, the novel, the Subway. I found it. I forget how I came across it. Maybe it was a different podcast, but I'm always thinking about, people say when the printed book came out that was going to ruin society.
I know people are going to spend all their time reading. They're not going to be doing their work.
Yes.
Look how far we've come.
Oh, no, there's a coffee episode. I'll have to go listen to that one. But their website is pessimists.co. They do a podcast. They do articles on stuff. They've got a great Twitter account. I think maybe that's where I initially found it, was on Twitter, where they tweet about what they're talking about. So check it out if you want to learn a fun look at history of why we are so hesitant to embracing change.
Well, I definitely am going to check that out, because I am somewhat of a pessimist myself.
Yes. Well, our Amazon purchase of the week. We love it when you guys shop on Amazon through our affiliate links. We get a little kickback. This was one that I didn't even, maybe I knew this, but I have not had a use for it. But somebody rented Advanced Placement United States History 2020 edition.
What is this? A textbook?
I was just talking about learning from textbooks. This is a United States history textbook. So apparently, college and high school, test preparation and everything, you can rent textbooks on here, and Advanced Placement edition. So this is obviously somebody very intelligent. Dave, You have children, you might be a little out of touch in the price. So I'm guessing this is a high school. If it's advanced placement, it wouldn't be a college one.
Yeah. Well, I actually just learned about this last night. I think it was from my wife. We were talking about colleges and people going off to college, and she was saying that you could rent textbooks on Amazon, and I had not heard of it.
And I do have painful memories of textbook prices in college and not buying some textbooks and borrowing other people's, and it was just, hundreds of dollars. Well, Dave, what would you pay if you rented now and had to return it by December 17th, the United States History AP 2020 edition book?
That doesn't seem like very long. I only have it for a couple months.
Well, for a semester,
I guess so.
Probably about what you'd need it for.
Yeah, I mean, I have no concept, so I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say $35.
$22
Okay.
to rent this for a couple months. So for college books, man, for
You
your
could
daughter,
save
you
a
could
lot of
save
money.
millions, and it makes so much sense because then you send it back and somebody else is getting it. So yeah, you can rent textbooks from Amazon. So
Wow.
if that's you, or if
That's
even
cool.
if that's not you and you just want to look smart and have some textbooks on your shelf,
Maybe I'll do that.
check it out.
You've got an interview coming up over Skype, and you're like, oh, if only I had some fancy books in the background. You could rent some from Amazon.
Do it. And make sure you get the AP U.S. History book. That sounds riveting. With that, we are going to wrap up this episode. Make sure you share the podcast with a friend. Check out all our different stuff. If you have questions, please ask us. Please. We love answering them. And if you have the question, there's a good chance a lot of other people do as well. So get out there and tech better. So get out there and text better.
Do it. Text. There's a lot of people who could text better.
Well,